So good evening, everyone out there. We've got 38 of you on our Zoom call here at the moment. I'm Ed Noy, President of the Minnesota Woodworkers Guild. Welcome to our May 2021 monthly meeting. Hopefully, we're getting close to the last of our virtual only meetings. We're looking forward to the opportunity here in the next few months to perhaps start getting together live. When we do go live, we're still going to stream our meetings. We've discovered that we get a lot more participation on these virtual meetings than we used to when we were doing them live. So we can look forward to that. Want to remind you that this month, Hirschfield's is our sponsor of the month. They've got some really good discounts on paint. I know I received one thank you email from one of our members who said, boy, this is great. I had to paint my house this month anyway. And I went into Hirschfield's and I got like a 40% discount on a bucket of paint. Hopefully he was using more than one bucket to paint the whole house. But that's what he said. Please patronize our sponsors. They're good to us. They help us in lots and lots of ways. We got some events coming up. We are going to go live this year. The first one that's coming up is our second. Ron, are we calling it our second annual or our third annual? Ron Austin is the chairman of that. Go ahead, Ron.
We are calling it the second annual. Yes, we are busy planning the tool swap. I'm going to go out on a limb here and I'm going to make a special offer tonight. But yes, we are planning our second annual tool swap. We have an active committee. We've signed the lease with the Bloomington Armory in Bloomington. Well, that's where our first annual one was, and that's where we'll be again. We have two speakers signed up thus far. George Wurtzel is a woodworker without sight, and yet he has still made woodworking projects. One has been copied 1 million times. So I think a very inspirational speaker. And we also have Mark Dajinski to talk about jigs. Our team is actively pursuing for the expo. We're pursuing presenters such as tool builders and clubs and lumber yards, etc. And so, as I said, we're meeting as a committee. We have a very minimal number of people on our committee. We would sure like to have some more help. We're currently meeting at a brewery in St. Paul, and I would like to offer to you, if you would like to join us to check out the Tool Swap and Expo Committee, I will buy you a beer. So how about that? We'd love to have you. We'd love to have a little more help to broaden our expertise and so that we can handle this event. We want to have it every year, and we want to grow it every year to have a big event. So with that, I'll turn it back to you, Ed.
Very good. For those of you who really are thirsty and want that beer from Ron, you can get his contact information on the contacts page of our website. I sort of rushed over some of the housekeeping items that I usually tend to, so I better do that. So as each of you have been admitted into this meeting, you've been automatically put on mute. And we ask that everyone stay on mute. That way we don't have a whole mess of people trying to make comments at the same time. If you do want to ask questions during this tour that we're going to have this evening, please use the chat feature of Zoom. There are a couple of us who will be monitoring that. And when the opportunity arises, we'll interrupt our presenters and try to ask a question and hopefully get some good answers for you all. And also, if anybody has something they want to share that they've been working on, they want to take a minute or so, right before we start our presentation. Please send us a note in chat so we can open up your mic and let that happen. All right, so that's housekeeping. Uh, Charlie Kosorik, I see you are on with us tonight. I was hoping you could speak a few words about the upcoming Northern Woods exhibition.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah, we have our Northern Woods planned for, I don't remember the dates offhand, middle of October sometime. And we're pretty confident that it's going to be a go. And we're really, really very happy about that. We're finally going to have our show back. And we will probably get the committee together. Ed and I talked probably towards the end of June, early July, we'll get the committee together. But think of, if you don't have a project done or ready to go, you got till October, man. So let's do it. I think it's gonna. I personally think it's gonna be one of our better shows. Just putting it out there. So what am I forgetting, Ed?
Well, the dates are October 7th through the 10th.
Okay,
That's,
dates are October 7th through the 10th.
but that's Thursday through Sunday, and we'll be at the Eden Prairie Center in the main rotunda area where we've been the past several years. And the exhibition will be open during mall hours. So you're like 9 to 9 kind of a thing. Just have to look at their website and find out what their hours are.
Yeah, I guess
And I
should.
agree with Charlie. I think this is going to be a really good show. People are really anxious to get out, and they've had plenty of time to be working on some good projects. Hopefully, that's what we'll see.
And I guess I should add, kind of got me thinking as you said that, Ed. I'm assuming everyone knows what the show is and everyone's familiar with it, but probably people on the Zoom here tonight who aren't familiar with it. So it's an exhibition of members' work. It's generally pretty nice stuff, and it's open to all. And if you haven't entered, by gosh, I encourage you to enter. And if you haven't been there, I don't just encourage you, man. You gotta, if you haven't even seen it, I mean, you gotta go out and see it. If you haven't, it's one of the best shows ever. But it's a good show, and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, very good, Charlie. I agree with you. It's a really good show. And by the way, for those of you who haven't attended, it's not uncommon for us to have over 80 pieces of fine furniture and other types of fine woodworking. So make some plans to come. The other big activity we've got coming up that we will resume this year is our fall seminar. Now, Richard Tendick and Bob Krabby are leading that event in the planning stages here. Talked to both of them last night. We have firmed up the date. It will be November 5 through 7. So that's Friday evening, all day Saturday, and about 2/3 of a day on Sunday. The format we always follow is Friday evening, the presenter spends time talking about themselves and the kind of work that they do. And they kind of introduce us to what they're going to be teaching on Saturday and Sunday. And then all day Saturday, they do live demonstration. We'll have woodworking equipment there. They'll be making sawdust and noise. And then Saturday morning through Sunday morning through early Sunday afternoon. And it will be held, we believe, at the St. Paul College. They have been holding the dates for us. We just have to confirm with them these particular dates of November 5 through 7. All right. I'm kind of going to follow up with Ron's plea for some people to help support the effort to plan the Tool Swap and Expo. We need a couple more people on our board of directors, especially now that society is finally opening up from the pandemic and we've got lots of things to discuss and plan. I really would hope that some of you would be willing to spend a couple hours a month participating in our board meetings that we hold monthly. Had one just last night. It's always the second Monday of the month. And if you are interested in being part of this dynamic and active group, please contact me. You can find all my contact information right there on our contacts page on the website. All right. I haven't seen any chats come through. No one has indicated that they need a little bit of time to share something with us. Even since we've been doing these virtual meetings, we've still been giving out what we still refer to as door prizes, although maybe they should be called screen prizes. So each month, we randomly select 10 participants and send them a $25 gift card to either Rockler or Woodcraft. And last month, I sent gift cards to Angela Vargas, Jay Sangren, Steve Harvey, Joe Seidler, Dave Rastucia, Randall Warren, Jim Thompson, and Keith Engelhart. And they've all been out there having Christmas in May, spending money at their favorite woodworking store. All right. We don't, let's see. I just got a question from Cindy Darwin. Cindy, the board meetings have been virtual, but we agreed last night that our board meeting in June will be live, and it will be at the home of one of the board members. That's the way we usually do this. We rotate around. Each board member hosts a meeting, and right now there's only 8 of us, so we have to host more than one a year. Somebody does anyway. And it would be nice to spread out that responsibility a little bit. But Cindy, I would love to speak with you about an opportunity on the board. Please call me at your leisure. We can have a nice discussion. Okay, that being said, I'm going to turn this over to the program committee member who's responsible for setting up this meeting, and that is Stephanie Finney. Stephanie, it's all yours.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I grew up just south of Duluth in Carlton, Minnesota, and toured Glensheen and as a student. And we always went when it was decorated for Christmas. And being young and impressionable, I love the Christmas decorations, but wasn't really very enamored by the woodwork, as I'm sure all of you will be. My father-in-law, Oz Finney, you may know, and I'm sure is here tonight, suggested Glensheen as a tour for the group. He thought it would be a great place for the woodworkers to see. He fondly remembers the cabinets and furniture and woodworking and would like to get back there to see it in person again as soon as we can. So we reached out to Glensheen, and the director, Daniel Hartman, and the collections manager, Melissa Brooks Ojibwe, were kind enough to volunteer their time tonight to give us a tour of the property. Glensheen, as I mentioned in the description, has some very thick woodworking, thick ceilings, thick walls, and that makes their it difficult to actually tour in motion. So we will be utilizing, I think, the 3D tour as we did with the Gamble House. So we can see more of it then and not have our internet cut out in and out. I did include some in the meeting notes. It was the mansion was built between 1905 and 1908 for Chester and Clara Congdon. And there's six children. Am I right there? I believe it was 6.
7.
So seven.
Yeah, Dan said 7.
So with that, I think I'll turn over to Dan and Melissa and let us take a tour of the mansion.
Very good.
Thank you, Stephanie, and thank you to everyone who invited us today. This is kind of fun for us because, as you'd imagine, not every visitor is really that excited about the woodwork. And so it's kind of fun when we can actually talk about it a little bit. I will say kind of a cool legislative advocacy story. We had the state Senate Majority Leader came for a meeting, and I met him in the parking lot, and he's like, I don't really need to go in, blah, blah, blah. I hear about it all the time. And you could just tell he was not a fan of Glensheen at all. But I knew he was a carpenter. And so he got into the mansion, and the minute he walked in the door, he's like, oh my gosh, there's some really good woodworking in here. And then he changed dramatically. And by the end of the tour, he was one of our biggest sponsors of what we were fighting for at the time. So I think it's always kind of fun that, woodworking is just one of those things that can get people really excited pretty quick. But with that being said, we have a little bit of an agenda, just kind of like a welcome introduction. That was stated before. My name is Dan Hartman. I'm the director here at Glensheen. And, my role ranges in a lot of different things, but I will say my senior thesis when I was younger was actually on Glensheen. So I have a long-term passion for the place. And if I seem a little nerdy, that's probably why. But otherwise, I'll hand it over to Melissa to explain kind of her role a little bit.
So, of course, I'm the collections manager. I get to take care of all the cool stuff. Not just the artifacts within the house, but the walls and the curtains and everything else. So it's a delightful job and a job of a lifetime. I also am a beginning wood carver myself. So I'm getting my feet wet. Got all the tools, but haven't really done much work yet. But I love if I could actually collect something. Collections managers never collect anything, so we just see too much of this stuff. But Netsukis, Japanese Netsukis, are absolutely adorable, and I wish I had more. So I've been here at Glensheen for 5 years. We're gonna show you the best of the best, hopefully.
So without further ado, I'm gonna try to start up our 360 tour, which you can access at any point. It's actually just right on our website. And so let's see if I can make this work. Do folks see this?
You are sharing.
Perfect. Okay. So our plan tonight is to kind of walk you through what's called the classic tour of Glensheen. So for folks who haven't been here for years, Glensheen is now a fully self-guided tour. So if you come to Glensheen, you can actually come at your own speed and your own time. For folks who, for example, like woodworking, they really enjoy that they can kind of spend their own time studying the wood. Plus, we actually have an app that you can actually hear the guided tour if you want to. So just keep that in mind. If you ever want to do this 360 tour on your own from your house, you can actually download the app to your phone and actually kind of guide yourself through the house through the 360 tour. So just keep that in mind. Right, you're looking at now is the main hall of Glensheen. So you've come into the door, and this is what you walk into. And it is the fumed white oak, and it goes the entire length down the east and the west side of the building. Yeah. And then you turn around, and this is that main entrance door that you came into. And so as you can probably see, there's a great deal of paneled wood through this whole main floor. And it's a very striking thing to walk into. I also see, I don't know if there's a really good close-up shot. I think you can see it a little bit here. Melissa, do you want to bring up the debate?
So my theory at this point, we've always been told it's fumed white oak, but I think the paneling is satin wood. And I don't know, I'm not a wood expert. So if you got a chance to come to Glensheen, or you can just look at this and say yes or no, that'd be great. Maybe we could just continue to debate it. I don't know, but I can't find anywhere where it says what it is. So,
yeah. No, I just want to say, I think sometimes people view us house museum people as like, we know all of the things. And sometimes we're just constantly learning as much as everyone else. And so honestly, this was a question for you as a group to say, like, I think these right here look like oak.
Well, that's definitely oak. I'm just thinking the paneling, and it was a common thing at that time to have satin wood paneling.
So what do folks think? I'm kind of curious. What do you think it's satin wood? Do you think it's oak? What do you think?
It's pretty hard to tell from the photograph.
Sure.
Okay.
It's
well,
not
you're
oak.
gonna visit Glensheen then and come tell me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's not, it doesn't look like oak. It could be satinwood.
See if there's a, well, I skipped a little head too far here.
There you go. Or that piano too, I believe is satinwood as well. But it's just me.
And so this is the main hall. And then the other room we usually bring you into first is this reception room. And Melissa's kind of my person to help verify things with me, but I think this is actually Circassian walnut.
It is, yes. And intricately carved and all the things. And also on each of the pieces of furniture, you can see where it's just got some amazing detail.
Can you folks see that okay?
Yeah. Yeah, it looks really, really detailed.
And also you notice that all the hand carved woodwork through here. In the main hall, there was a lot of hand carved woodwork throughout that as well.
Well, and we don't forget the gold leaf ceiling, Dan. I mean, it's not all about the wood, just saying.
Yeah,
Wow.
so this room is famous for this gold leaf ceiling you see above.
Mm.
And you can actually see the little gold leaf squares up in the ceiling itself. And there's a lot of things to Glensheen. So like all these little lights you see here are Kazel glass.
Are those lights original to the home?
Yes.
Yep.
Almost everything you see in Glensheen is original to the home.
So that's kind of where Glensheen's different than a lot of other house museums, especially in the Midwest, is almost everything you see in the rooms is original to the house, which is pretty incredible. But like even like all the furniture pieces you see here, and not only are they original to the family, they're original to when the house was built in 1909. And so that's also pretty rare. But I love the William A. French Company out of the Twin Cities actually designed these pieces. And then like this little marble top on is pretty incredible too.
Dan, we have a question. Were the wood carvers imported and from where, I assume? You know
So we
anything?
don't, correct me if I'm wrong, Melissa, but we don't know a great deal about the wood carvers themselves.
Nope.
And by a great deal, that's a nice way of saying we don't really know anything. But
But we do have all the, or most of them, the original receipts for the construction that we've just sort of never gotten a chance to go through. So we're hoping that those reveal a few more clues when we get a chance to go through them.
And then here is actually one of my favorite rooms in the house. This is the smoking room. And I'll let you take this one, Melissa, since I seem to have talked a lot last two rooms.
Yeah, you're fine. So we got grass cloth on the walls and the actual wood is cypress that has been treated in what they call Jendai Sugi. Am I saying that right, Dan?
Yep.
Sugi. And so it's been potentially flamed. Is that what I'm remembering? And then it could potentially also have been treated with acid to make that grain really stand out. Dan, can you look up? Sometimes the ceiling can be a good example. Maybe not. Never mind. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So what's great is the designer that we think did this, or is famous actually from Minnesota, John Bradstreet, is he'd take a blowtorch, he'd burn the wood, the blowtorch, scrape off the burn, and then put like a little bit of like a wax seal on it. But in woods like cypress and cedar, some of that grain would really have a different color to it. It's hard to tell in this, but you can kind of see it in the door here, that like that reddish orange. And that's part of that Jendai Sugi process. And as you can probably tell by the look of this room, it's really meant to have almost like a Japanese or Asian feel to it. And like this desk, like it's not a smooth woodworking. Like this is all rough because it's been burned with a blowtorch. And also on a side note, these lights are actually hand beaten copper to look like a water lily. And I think it's probably one of the better examples of the arts and crafts elements on this first floor or main floor. Anything else you want to add to this room?
No, it's one of the few doors that actually, closes shut as opposed to the pocket doors. We use the pocket doors on this main floor.
And then this is the living room. And go ahead, Melissa.
Okay, so this is mahogany. all over the place, all matching furniture. Basically, the legs on the bottom of the piano are mahogany, but again, with the piano, I believe it's we're back to that satin wood is my guess. And then walls are Angora goat wool. Just some gorgeous pieces in here. Flamed mahogany, Dan? Did I?
Yeah.
Okay. And the fireplace is from Algeria. It's Numidian marble.
And you can really see the flamed right here on the side here.
Gorgeous.
But that marble, this top section is just one solid chunk of Numidian marble. It's pretty incredible.
The lights are all in this house from the E.F. Caldwell Company. So they're all gorgeous pieces. Happen to have alabaster shades.
Now I'll go, this is the library. So like all the books you see in here are original, but yet another really good example of that flamed mahogany. You can see a big chunk of it here, or also feathered mahogany. If there's a difference between the two, please let me know, but that's, I've heard it used both ways.
Yeah, when you start putting names on woods, that they call that figure, they come up with all kinds of general names, but flame mahogany is the most common, I believe.
Okay, thank you. And you know, it's sometimes easy to miss, but the ceilings of Glensheen are just something kind of cool to see too. And a lot of times, like I said, they get missed pretty regularly. Like even this light here is just an incredible piece. And then the fireplaces, I think, are one of the fireplaces and the light fixtures are another major part of our show, I would say. And here, this is a luster tile. And then a couple of the flower designs, which are hard to see right now, but are actually iridescent blown glass. But there's a really good example of that flamed mahogany up here.
How much Asian influence is there throughout the home in design? And was that just sort of common for this period of history?
There's, I'd say, quite a bit. And it was a very popular trend at the moment. One of the interior designers we think worked in this process, John Bradstreet, you know, before he kind of came into his own, he would even design theme rooms in mansions across Minnesota. So you'll have like an Arabian room, an Asian room, and then eventually he started blending those styles together. If you go to the Minneapolis Institute of Art, there's an entire room dedicated to John Bradstreet where you can see a significant amount of Asian influence in that space.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, great question. But I mean, clearly, if you look close, you can also see there's a lot of European influence still involved.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, and the way we follow the classic tour, go back down.
Okay, sorry, we have another comment. Brad Hansen says, I see all the doorways have curtains. Are these in addition to actual doors or what? Yes, there are both. There are pocket doors and there is a set of curtains on one side to match the interior of that room. And then there's a set of curtains on the outside as well. I'm getting that wrong. And then of course the pocket doors are also matching the wood on the interior of the room that they're facing and on the main hall as well.
And I apologize, we have another staff person who seems to be texting Melissa and I both a lot, so you keep hearing that ding. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
So we're back in that main hall, and now we're going to go up these stairs, and then we'll go to that second floor space. But I will point out that, as you can kind of see, it's a beautiful walk up, and this kind of cascading staircase. See if you can. Oh no, it went right back outside. Sorry. So we'll go up there now. So now you're up on the landing looking down, and you can kind of see how it turns. So at Christmas, we'll actually have a Christmas tree right in the center here. And it's like this 25-foot tall tree. So you slowly just walk around the tree. But the woodworking, this leather strap work design is definitely one of the showpieces of the house. And you can really see the hand carved work here really well. And personally, I love this in the morning, and you can see it a little bit in this photo right here. The light comes through that stained glass window, And it's a beautiful sight. I always recommend people take a night, like the earliest tour you can, because the lighting in the house, I think, is the best in the morning. Now let's see if I
Imagine dusting that.
yeah. So every day at 6 a.m. we have around 3 staff who show up to clean the mansion because
Yeah.
it is not an easy chore.
Wow.
So now you're up on the second floor, kind of once again looking back that way. And then we'll go down the hallway here. More of that wood paneling, more of that. Is it satin wood? Is it not? And then we'll turn into Marjorie's room. And I'll let Melissa kick it off.
So everything that we see in here is either mahogany or it's painted birch. Did I remember the right birch?
Yep.
And I love the high boys. They're even in the design blueprints of the room. The high boys were very specifically meant for this room, and they're just gorgeous. I love that the top drawer is above my head. So if I had to use them, I wouldn't even know what was in that drawer, but they're very beautiful.
And Melissa, this is one I can never remember. Is that the Sienna marble fireplace?
Yes, it is.
It was one of the few rooms that actually have painted woodwork. And then it's the only room that actually has this canopy above the bed.
Gorgeous bed.
But if you think about this, this is the oldest daughter's room. You know, not a bad looking room for your daughter.
It's got a
Where's the
beautiful
computer
view.
desk?
Look at the desk, Dan. Turn a little bit. I love that desk. This one has, like many of the desks in our house, in this house, a hidden drawer or two. Yes, exactly. Yes, you asked. It's. I wish, Dan, can you point it out where it's at with the mouse? It's right in there. There's one on each side right there.
And then, wow, lots of texting going on here. Okay. Now,
Sorry, I should have explained. We have a fellow who's drinking in the parking lot, so we're kind of having to deal with it. I apologize.
let me see if I can disable this program.
Sorry, what was the, hang on, we've got a question, Dan.
Okay.
Which were the last rooms occupied? Elizabeth was in the house till 1977, and we have not hit her room yet. But hers is what we call Helen's room, because when Helen married and moved out of the house, Elizabeth moved over to her sister's room. I'll point it out when we get there.
And something that I always try to remind folks when I give a guided tour is, you know, think of this as your own house. Because I mean, it's easy to think of it almost like a commercial property, but think of like, if this fireplace was at your house, with this, for me, this would be the best fireplace in my house, and this is just the girls' room. And so like, it's just a nice thing to kind of keep that in mind. And back out into the hallway. People also love this picture, the painting of a girl, because no matter where you are, she seems to always be looking at you. And so that's, and because of the other story of Glensheen, people love to enjoy the haunted part, shall we say. Now you're entering the master bedroom. Once again, I love the art glass entrance into the space.
Wow.
Once again, this is just a little bit of an American walnut. This is one of my favorite panel doors in the house. It's just a beautiful piece. And then this, mail organizer that doesn't fit the wood of the area, but yeah. And I think that's what's also kind of cool is that you always have matching wood in each room. And so like all of the stuff matches. So the furniture is American walnut, the panels, everything is, the desk. Where, once again, in my house, nothing matches like this. So it's just kind of fun to see. So I do a slow pan in this room. Now, this room, I will say I feel bad about. This originally was almost like a goldish color wallpaper. And we don't know why, but at some point they painted over all of it. And so you had a goldish color here. And then there was a pomegranate theme hand done stenciling up on the top. So today, this room doesn't look so great, but keep in mind, it probably looked incredibly better originally. And so we do talk often about maybe we should just repaint this room. Maybe just bring it back to that original style, because I feel like we're just not giving it justice right now. I think one of the best fireplaces in the house. This tiling is great. And once again, it's that luster tile, iridescent blown glass. Anything else you want to add about this room, Melissa?
Gosh, nope, I can't think of anything that you haven't talked about.
Now we'll go through the changing room. So even these like Japanese art screens are original to the collection.
Yeah, Chester made a significant trip over around the Pacific Ocean in 1914 and brought back tons and tons of souvenirs. This is the door out to Clara's balcony. So it overlooks Tisher Creek, which is to the west of the house, and it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous view that we hope to let the public see some again soon.
And then we'll go through your first bathroom.
All of them are very white, very cleanly.
But people love the shower. It's a 9 shower head shower. So you can see all of the pieces here. So the family has a castle in Washington State, and in that castle, they have one of these showers. And the family today refers to these showers as the kidney cleanse, because I guess the side sprayers are so rough that it just hurts. And so they don't use the side sprayers; they only use the top one. But I love that name, the kidney cleanse, because of the pressure. And then we're now in Chester's room, and I'll let you take it from here, Melissa, if you want.
Oh boy, you would. I don't remember what wood this is. It's mahogany again, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So this is a Victorian era kind of thing where you have 2 separate bedrooms. Of course, they grew up in the Victorian era, even though this is 1908 whatever, and is no longer technically the Victorian era. But this is Chester's little bedroom with his little closet, and some of his even tuxedos are still hanging in the closet. So it's kind of cool. Dan and I every once in a while kind of wonder about the tiles in this fireplace, because they're just not very exciting and not very, kind of wonder if maybe they're not original, but we're still debating. Again, a mystery. And the wallpaper is not original. This was pretty much turned into Clara's sister's room or any visiting guest room after Chester died. And he died in 1916 at the age of 63. So he was only in the house about 8 years.
So you mentioned they have a castle in Washington?
Yes, it's called West Home. You can look it up. There's pictures of it. It's still owned by the family.
Okay.
Yakima, Washington.
Was that built prior or after this one?
After this one. And you know what's wild is that this one was what, $847,000 or $57,000 to build back then. Same, you go over to Yakima, it's an even bigger house, and it only costs 100 and some odd thousand to build. So the detail and the craftsmanship in this house is definitely what Chester paid for.
So that castle's located in Yakima?
It is in Yakima, yep. Yeah, there are pictures of it online. It's absolutely incredible, but like I said, the family still owns it, so it's not open for like a museum or anything.
Now we're going down the hallway. And now this is the first guest room you'll see. It's called the double guest room or the female ladies room. Once again, another one of those painted walls we probably need to bring back at some point, but the furniture inside of it looks fantastic. And I think this is the same woodwork that's in the reception room. Am I wrong, Melissa?
Occasion. Yep, no, this is Occasion walnut again. And pineapples everywhere, or
Yep, or artichoke, however you want to see it.
artichoke. Yeah, there's a debate. But it's a lovely, lovely room, lots of sun.
And then we move to another bathroom. Now into Elizabeth's room, who is the youngest daughter. And this would, oh man, I forgot.
It's from Sri Lanka. Oh, crap. No, I can't remember it either. Where's your cheat sheet, Dan? Come on, you were supposed to be ready.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Hand painted, and it's absolutely beautiful. In fact, right there, wait, don't move, Dan. The top part of that dresser is a hat holding kind of thing. So you open it up and it folds down, and it's just two of those hat things that would stick out, and then you sit the hat on top of it. That whole top section is just for two hats. I love that.
And it's satin wood.
Thank you. Oh no, okay. So that's
Or it's driving me crazy. We've given this tour for years, so I should totally, yeah. I mean, I literally gave this tour in college. But yeah, all the furniture is, once again, just another good example of everything matching.
and all of it in just in wonderful condition. I'm so surprised it all has held together so well.
And now we'll walk into Helen's room, which is the middle daughter. Now, we had a lot of water damage from the late 70s and early 80s, and so that's what you're seeing here. We're actually hoping to restore it probably this year or next year, which I'm kind of excited to see. These are some of the most popular light fixtures in the house because they look remarkably different when they're on and when they're off. The fireplace here is a series of just little mosaic tiles, and this is yet another, so I forgot, this is another one of the painted wood rooms.
Are these wood burning or gas fireplaces?
All wood burning.
Hmm.
These are just recreational fireplaces. Their heat all was entirely your boiler system, and the radiators are in the wall. You can see a radiator here, actually.
Yeah, there's one sticking there behind the chair.
Yep. And there's another one on the backside over here too.
So point out the hidden door on that one. Right
Yep.
there is, we pull it out every once in a while and show it to people. It's a little hidden spot.
You know, like hide letters and other things inside. It's kind of fun.
Sure.
It's kind of also cool that picture here is a picture of Helen on her wedding day in her wedding dress, sitting in this chair. So it's kind of cool to be able to see those two things together.
Hmm.
And this was Elizabeth's bedroom throughout the rest of her life after Helen moved out.
Now, go down to the servants' quarters, and so you'll see it's very different. I always like to point this out that it's hard to see, but there's a little lock on this, and then there's a lock on the other side too. And the idea is that, in the servants' side of the house, it's the servants' house. So if the servants wanted to, they could lock the Congdon family out from their home, which I think is, kind of a surprising thing for people to hear, but it really shows that separation between the family and the staff. And so going into this space, you can see, very different styles. So you're looking here, you've got the linen closet. Over here, you've got the downstairs maid's room. You'll see two pieces here, but they actually don't belong together. This is probably supposed to go in a different room. That room is Melissa's office right now. But otherwise,
How many staff were required to run the home?
so that's up for debate too, but we know for sure there's at least 7 who lived on the property. And we think that during a peak season, there's probably around 30 working at any given time.
Wow.
And that's between the people working on cooking the meals, the people keeping the fireplaces going, working on the horses, working on the gardens, working on the boat. I mean, there's a whole line of people. Should also be said too that the family had a variety of other homes. And so really the family has gone a lot. And the staff probably lived more at Glensheen than the family did, which I think is, it's kind of something to think about. And I know that for the 4th of July, there was an ongoing legend that it was quite the staff party every 4th of July. Yeah. And now I'll swing it back around and let's see if I can narrate this, but we're going to try to go down the staircase.
So just pointing out, sorry, Dan, you haven't said anything, but that's our elevator to the left there, not the first door, but the next sort of inset door. We have an elevator that goes all the way from the 3rd floor to the basement, 4 floors. We use it today still to move things around, but we don't let people on it. But it's kind of cool that it exists, and it has from the very beginning. Was a I'm not sure if it was electrical or not lift, but was it, Dan, did we determine that it was electrical?
Well, originally,
Yes.
uh,
Hand pulled.
yeah.
Okay. And then it was renovated in the 60s when Elizabeth had a stroke, so she could go between the floors in a wheelchair.
So bear with me for a little bit. I'm gonna go back down to the first floor, and then
Servants dining.
I'm gonna rush you over here.
What time is it now? 7:30 already. Wow.
Oh. Well, it's hard to see, but over here is the bottom of those stairs. And then you'll come into the servants' dining area. So this is the servants' dining room. You can see they clearly updated the wallpaper in the 60s. And then you go into the kitchen. Once again, that white tile. And then the cook's pantry is over here, and there's a door out to actually a porch outside. My favorite part of this room, though, is this little call button system. There's these little buttons in a lot of the rooms. And so if you wanted to call the staff, you'd push a button, and then this little hand would move telling you which room the staff were needed in. And then this is the butler's pantry. And I'm kind of moving you around fast here. And then this is the probably most famous room in Glensheen, and I'll let Melissa take it.
So this is our lovely breakfast room, again with this Gen Daisuke cypress wood. And all the green tile you see is lovingly rookwood pottery. So it's just a fantastic, you get lots of light, lots of sun. Supposedly Clara had mini plants sitting on the windowsills there. And then right here you see, or no, we will in a minute, a fountain that was continuously running that was used, it came from the creek, so you couldn't drink out of it, but it was used to water the plants. And it's just a gorgeous little piece of rookwood as well. And there's that lovely flame mahogany on the dining door.
But once again, just it's a beautiful space.
Table and the chairs are all Gen Daisuke. I believe they're what, 8 chairs, Dan? 10? And this table, of course, expands so it fits more.
Excuse me. And once again, it's that burned wood with a blowtorch. So.
And the oak tree and acorn pattern from Linden Art Glass Company.
And now we're in the formal dining room.
And this table has, oh boy, 8 leaves total. Seats, technically 20. And it's all mahogany in here. It's just a beautiful, the rug is actually a replica rug so that people could see what it looked like, but could still walk on it. We have the original up in the attic. And this is a very Georgian style in here with the medallions and the laurel plaster design as well. The walls in here actually used to be were like a green. We don't know when this was replaced and made it into a lighter satin, but it's just gorgeous.
Also, one of my favorite ceilings in the house.
Yes, it's so much detail.
Now we're back in that main hallway of the first floor, heading back down this way. So we're kind of like on a walking journey now. And then I keep forgetting this goes outside. I'll go back inside.
It's pretty though. That's our formal garden. You just saw.
So you normally would walk down this path, go around, and then the stairs would lead down to the basement. And so then you'd come down to here. And once again, notice that beautiful wood paneling. Floor to ceiling. So that's the stairs leading down. And this hardwood floor we just recently exposed. And so that's been a beautiful thing because it used to be covered by this really ugly red rug, wall to wall. And now it's been able to show off the original woodwork. And now into the billiards room, which has a little bit of that Asian feel to it, mixed in with a little bit of the styles of Europe again. And I would also add, it has a lot of arts and crafts feel to it with the lights you see here, the lights here. The designers of these lights are the same company that Frank Lloyd Wright would later use in a lot of his homes as well. And then we'd go into one of our last rooms, the amusement room. Personally, if there was any fireplace in the house that I'd want to have lit, it would be this one. I think, coming from a nice cold Duluth day, sitting here on the rug in the basement of this big fireplace, it would be a pretty awesome experience. And then if you go all over here in the little museum area on the backside of the fireplace, and see more of those bookshelves. They're little curio items from around the world. Anything you want to add, Melissa?
No, we refinished the floor, 2 years ago, and it glows now. I'm so glad we did it. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, and you can just see through this framing, like it's just another beautiful space. And if you talk to a lot of the family that lived in the house, they remember these spaces the most because these were the only rooms that they were allowed to play in as kids. And so there's been a lot of fond memories here and a lot of less fond memories upstairs because they were really told they just couldn't do much upstairs. But just kind of the little side legacy there, I guess. But otherwise, that's in a 37-minute version of our classic tour. I apologize when we went a little long, but hopefully that was interesting to folks. And if you have questions, feel free.
Yeah, there haven't been any additional questions pop up on the screen. Melissa was catching them pretty good as they came by there. It's just, I can't imagine living in a place like that. Just the enormity of it and the fear of actually touching something.
I got a question from, looks like Bruce. That billiards table is original. It's actually custom for the house. It's only a 9-foot table, it was supposed to be a 10-foot table. And so you can tell that the family cared more about the look of the room than the actual billiards table. A good question.
Very fine. Any other questions from our membership out there? By the way, folks, we had 66 people participating in this, so it was a big crowd. It would have been hard to get through the home, even as big as it is.
Yeah, especially in COVID times. You guys had a lot of separation.
Oh yeah, right. All right, very well. Well, thank you very much, Dan and Melissa. Thank you, Stephanie, for getting this one organized.
Yeah. Yeah, believe it or not, Jay, we actually did show you the basement. So that finished part is kind of the finished part of the basement. I will say there's a lot more to still see in the house. I mean, so if I highly advise you to come. You can see the 3rd floor and attic. I'm just also trying to be mindful of not keeping you on for several hours. So
Good.
What's involved, Dan, in getting a tour at the mansion? You just show up?
Yep, you can just show up, especially now during COVID, just let folks know that we try to get separation between groups. And, it's been going pretty good so far. I'd say we're one of the safer places in Duluth. We are part of the University of Minnesota, so there's kind of an extra level of regulation we go through to make sure things are safe for people to visit. So.
Lowell, to answer your question, the furniture was mostly made by the William A. French Company out of St. Paul, Minneapolis, that area, and made down there as far as I know.
Yep. Now we have some I think we have 2 pieces of Gustav Stickley, but really it's almost all William A. French. So
was it designed by the architect or by the furniture makers, or how did that work?
We think it was, well, this is the debate. The contract was out for William A. French, but there's a lot of pieces furniture-wise that look like John Bradstreet originals. And honestly, some of the stuff is identical to some of the work he's done. And so I wouldn't be surprised if William A. French contracted out to John Bradstreet to do a lot of the work. But, it was 100 years ago. And so we don't have any documentation to prove that he did any of the subcontracts. And we've gone through the John Bradstreet stuff and haven't been able to find any connections.
Okay. How comfortable is the house in the cold of winter?
It's actually pretty amazing. The whole house is solid concrete and steel. And the envelope, can always be tighter in an old house, but it actually is pretty good. You can definitely tell it's a house built for Duluth. you know, I would love to have a roaring fire going in the library, reading a book in the winter. They'd probably be about one of the most comfortable places in the area.
There was a thermostat in every room that could be adjusted to, you know, whoever's in that room. We don't use that system any longer, but the Congdons have the ability to change the temperature in each room if they wish to do so.
Pretty advanced.
Yeah. Lots of pipes in the basement going to the boiler, lots.
Steve had a question about the views. The views are spectacular, especially from Helen's room and some of the boys' rooms on the 3rd floor. I mean, it's a beautiful view right down to Lake Superior. But I will say classic Duluth, like these houses built 100 years ago generally didn't take advantage of their lake views as good as they could have. And is what it is.
Very much.
We didn't share the views of the carriage house. I think the carriage house is a great example of this, that probably the best view of Lake Superior we have is actually from where the carriages are stored in the carriage house. So even the staff living quarters are on the other side of the building and from where the lake view is. So the staff, their view is like staff quarters and vegetable gardens, where, you know, the sleighs and carriages have this immaculate view of the lake, which, you know, they're not human. They don't even look at the stuff.
The center hall was obviously a way to get into the house and through into the rest of the rooms, but they're also, when they would have parties in the house, there's several big settee type things and or bench seats that you can sit on and talk to your neighbor or talk to, you know, so they were used for parties as well so that people could spread out through the house.
Is there a ballroom or something like that?
There's not. The amusement room was basically what they used to have any kind of, you know, dancing kind of party where they need to spread out a little bit. So yes, there is a silver safe. We passed it briefly in the main hall. It is a beautiful safe as far as safes go, and it does still contain a lot of the silver pieces in the collection. And it's just, we show it off every once in a while, but it's pretty rare. We like to keep that as a special piece to show everybody.
Sean Hart had asked about if there are any original trees. I think there might be, I'm not even joking, maybe 3. Because of the age of the property, just not a lot of the trees have survived. Plus Chester himself, you know, was very experimental with a lot of stuff too. So there's a lot of debate about what may have been or what not. But I think we've only got probably less than 3 that we can for sure say were on the original planting plan and are still there. So
Chester was very into apple agriculture and other things. In Yakima, there's quite the apple orchard out there, and we used to apparently they used to sell apples to, what was it, Treetop?
yep.
Apple juice. So. And when he went into the Pacific in 1914, there are pages and pages and pages in his diary of them, you know, how they grow apples in like New Zealand. So very interested in that kind of thing. For a lawyer, especially, I guess. Uh-oh, dining room.
Yeah, we actually did go through the dining room. Sorry if you missed it. But
That was the one with the big oval table in the middle.
yeah, good ceiling. Great ceiling.
But it's online. You can go view it again yourself. That's the nice part about this, is that you can go back at your own pace. And if you have any questions, certainly you can definitely email Dan or I. Our email's right on the website.
Well, very good. Well, I think we shall not hold the 2 of you any longer. You have lives to live too. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for reaching out to us. This is fun. So
Yes,
was-
thank you.
It was for us too. Thank you very much.
all right.
All right. Does anyone have any guild business that they would need to conduct or have any questions? If not, I think we will adjourn this monthly meeting of the Minnesota Woodworkers Guild. Next month, Stephanie has made another arrangement for us. We're going to visit I can't remember it, Stephanie.
It's Winter Museum, and they have the Domini collection. The Dominis were woodworkers, watchmakers, 4 generations of them, and so they have the winter, I think they just call it winter house, bought the collection and have recreated it and set it up. So you will see the tour of that shop and a lot of their woodworking tools, which are pretty amazing.
Very good. Yeah, it's Winter 3rd, I think it is. All right, very good. Well, thank you all who joined. Keep yourselves safe, and soon we'll be seeing you face to face, I hope. So good night.